Okay, welcome back to the channel. So I thought I'd give you a little update on the move to West Virginia. Looking for the property is not going that well. We looked at several properties online. I'm not planning to go down to an actual property until we make an offer and we're doing the home inspection, and then I'll take a drive down there to look at the property. We've looked at few. I have 3 agents down there in different parts of the state. Looking at property for us. We want to stay away from the northern and northeastern or northwestern part of the state. That seems to be where a lot of the AI data centers are. A lot of the IT infrastructure is there. And you also have to kind of watch out for the southeastern part of the state, especially around, what is it, Greenbrier? Let me look it up here. Green Bank, West Virginia. That's where the National Radio Quiet Zone is. And it's roughly a 13,000 square mile area centered on Green Bank, West Virginia, where radio transmitters are restricted to protect the highly sensitive radio telescope at Green Bank Observatory and historically the Navy's facility at Sugar Grove. It extends across eastern West Virginia, eastern West Virginia, western Virginia, and a small part of Maryland. So there are several counties that are in it. It's not the whole area. I think if you're about 30 miles outside of that quiet zone. So the counties of West Virginia: Pocahontas, Pendleton, Randolph, Grant, Tucker, Hardy, part of Webster, and part of Nicholas. The strictest restrictions are within about 10 miles of the Green Bank Observatory, where all cell service, Wi-Fi, and other radio emitting devices are more tightly controlled, meaning you can't have any. There's no Wi-Fi in those areas because of that National Observatory. So you have to we're kind of concentrating on the southeastern part of the state, which is kind of Appalachia, and the central and northwestern part of the state. And we're specifically looking in the mountain areas because there's no chance of them building an AI data center in any of the mountainous properties around there. So we've looked at a few. We actually really wanted one property, but we kind of hedged on it and waited. And in the meantime, it got sold. So we looked at several properties in the 50, 100, 110, and 140 acre range. One of the houses we looked at had 130 acres. It actually had a landing strip across the street that was a field, a grass strip, and it had a hangar on it. But the house itself needed probably $150,000 worth of work, and they just had it priced way over what it should be. It didn't have any heat. We'd have to have heater. I couldn't get a straight answer from the real estate agent as to, water heaters. They did say that the pipes under the house leaked, which meant it probably froze in the wintertime and then expanded and it burst the pipe, so they shut the water off. Another property had 100 acres. We were trying to find some information on the septic. Actually, it was 100 acres. Had some information on the septic. We couldn't get a straight answer on the septic. The property that had the cemetery on, I think I mentioned this before, we did get a deed to it, and the restrictions that were on that deed weren't as bad as I thought. It basically just listed 3 parcels that were sold earlier on, which left it with 49.4 acres, somewhere around there. But it had a dirt road, and it was about 2 miles to get up to the main paved road. It's not something that I really wanted to do, especially you couldn't ride if it rained or after it rained because the road is probably going to be all muddy and tore up. One property that we looked at was on Blue Rock Mountain. That was, I believe, 111 acres. It's a property my wife really wanted. It had two car garages, had an attached 2-car garage and then a detached 2-car garage. It was a ranch style, had central AC, central heat, everything like that. And we just couldn't make up our mind. And by the time we actually wanted to put an offer in on it, it was sold. So that was kind of a bummer there. We looked at another house that was kind of the same way. It wasn't in the same area. It was kind of mountainous house. That had 112 acres, but it had a private road that was shared with a neighbor, which meant you had to maintain the road yourself. So unless you and the neighbor could come to some agreement on maintaining the road, we might get stuck maintaining the whole thing. It was half paved, half gravel. I'm not into sharing a driveway or road. We already went through that route and it was a disaster on the last property we had. So I'm not into sharing any kind of driveway or roads. If I'm going to have a private road, I'm going to have it to myself, so that way only I have to worry about it. The last piece of property that we looked at, actually two, we looked at one today that was 50 acres. It had a detached garage, a single car garage. Couldn't get a right answer on if the garage had electricity. We did email the agent. She said it had 200 amp service to the house and 200 amp service to the garage, but it's kind of odd to me that a single car garage would have 200 amp service to it. And there was no way, I couldn't get pictures of the inside of the garage or the outside of the garage. And then we found out later on that the agent said that they actually might be dropping that listing because the owner was too difficult to deal with. They had a hard time doing showings. You can only look at this property after 3:15 in the afternoon. So it wasn't a mountainous view. It was kind of in a hollow. And I don't know if you could get access to all 80 acres because of that. And to me, it was like I told my wife, it doesn't do any good if there's 500 acres if you can't get access to it. So the last property we looked at was a property that I really liked. It was 140 acres. It had a 50 by 100 Morton building on it. The house wasn't anything spectacular. She said the house was kind of dark looking. She didn't particularly care for the house, but it had trees all around it, so you could cut some trees down and get some light into the house. And in digging it into this property, now it said on the listing that the property taxes were $47 a month, which is crazy for a 140 acre property with multiple buildings on it. In digging into this property a little bit more, we found out it was owned by a ministry and it was religious exempt, which meant that's why it was only $47. There was probably a specific part of the property that they couldn't get exempt, but the rest of the property was religious exempt. So as soon as we bought it, that exemption would go away. And it was kind of weird because a ministry owned it. They claimed that they were running a youth camp or rehab center on this property, yet it was a veterans organization that was selling the property, and they were claiming it was veteran housing. So I don't really know what was going on this property. It seemed like there was some kind of a scam going on. Maybe they bought the property in 2018, and going to this Virginia state website to look up this property, they had not been compliant with their religious exemption since they bought the property in 2018. So there's been no paperwork filed on this property for 8 years. I'm not sure how they kept their exemption by not filing the correct paperwork, but I was just getting kind of like a scam vibe out of this property, that they were selling the house as is, which means they would not probably negotiate on the price. They wouldn't negotiate on having any work done. There was no current survey on the property. I did contact a survey company down there and gave them the map information about what it was. They got back to me and said to survey the property was going to be anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000. I'd have to do that before we bought the property. It's not an investment that I want to make $8,000 to $10,000 on a property that I haven't even bought yet. And I'm not sure, about this sold as is. There's reasons why people do that. They don't want to fix anything. Probably they wouldn't be negotiating on the price. They just seem to be too many red flags with this property. So we kind of threw that on the back burner and kind of forgot about that. And that was actually the last property that we could look at we're looking at properties with at least 50 acres. That was the last property that showed up. We looked at all the other properties. The house didn't fit us. One of the things we need too is we need a house that is going to be clear pretty much around the property for my 4 dogs, because we can't use like the flimsy fence we have here with the invisible fence to keep them contained. We'd have to put chain link fence up, and then we'd have to put rattlesnake fence up too, because West Virginia has timber rattlesnakes and they have copperheads. So the last thing I'd want to do is move down there and have one of my dogs get killed by a snake. So we'd have to put a chain link fence up, and rattlesnake fence is basically just 1/4 inch gaps in the fence. If you put it on I don't know if you put it on the outside or the inside of the chain link, but based upon the length of snakes, they're usually about 3 feet high. They can't climb any higher than that. So that's something that we would have to get installed. and we need a clear piece of land for that. You don't want to put the fencing out into the woods because timber rattlesnakes hang out in the woods. Copperheads kind of, I think they go anywhere. I think there's more copperheads than there are timber rattlesnakes, but that's something that we have to consider, having 4 dogs. So right now, there's no more properties for us to look at. We're just waiting to see if something pops up. So I think if something doesn't pop up, probably by mid-August, we won't be making that move this year. I could still go down there you figure if we find a place in August, we'd probably close end of September. I could probably make a couple trips down there in October. I still haven't ordered a trailer yet because I'm not going to buy a trailer until we actually find a piece of property, because I have no use for a 20 or 24-foot trailer unless we're moving. So the cap for the truck, I ordered a cap for the truck back at the beginning of July, so that should be here by the end of August. I think they told me 6 to 8 weeks. So maybe we'll have that by the middle of August, and then I'll do a tour of the new F350 that I got and show you some of the changes that I've made to it. We did have the foundation finished. I'm going to do a separate video on that. And you can tell me whether you think that foundation work was worth $25,000. I don't think it was, but it's something that we had to do in order to sell the house. We still have 2 more things that the contractors have to work on. We have this back wall of the garage out here that's going to be taken down, and T111 is going to be put up there because the bottom of it's curling up. It's been like that for years, and we just never had it fixed. And then we have a crack in one of the living rooms that was caused by the foundation. That there's another contractor coming in to fix that crack, and they're going to put a couple coats of paint on the ceiling and replace some drywall from a skylight that was there. So that's it. Probably at the end of August, if we don't move, I'll start working on one of these bikes and then we're probably going to, pick up looking again. I mean, we're looking all through the wintertime, but it's hard to find something in the winter. Generally, people, once they've listed something now, you probably won't find anything again for a while. So, but we'll see. We don't know. Anything could happen then. Something could pop up tomorrow, and we just made up our minds that if we see something, we're going to jump on it. We're not going to wait any longer for stuff. So anyway, that's the latest update. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.